Kia ora, everybody. How we feeling? Good? Kua tau te wairua, are you at peace? Yes, Jordyn. Kia ora, I should introduce myself. My name is Jordyn. He uri tēnei no whaingaroa I te taha o tōku pāpa, no muli whanua lalovi I te taha o tōku mama. Kia ora, I'm Jordyn. I'm from Raglan, which is not too far from this side, Tainui till I die nui. Kia ora. And then on my mum's side, I'm from muli whanua lalovi, which is in Samoa. Choo!
Kia ora everyone, he uri aho no Ngāti Hāpani, rawa ko Ngāpuhi. So, ko Rachel Mikai o Renata aho. I'm Japanese, Māori, and Pākehā. And please forgive me, I am from Wellington. But I heard that there's a crew. Yeah, there you are. Are you the Salvation Army crew? Yeah. Kia ora whānau, it's nice to have some friendly faces here.
Atamaria e te whānau, ko Leisa taku ingoa. Kia ora, my name is Leisa. I am born and bred Taranaki girl. I am from Westgate Baptist. Yeah. And shout out to my traction whānau at Mount Albert. Yo, let's go. It is beautiful to be here this morning.
You guys, it's really been 2 whole years since we got to be together last.
Oh my gosh, 2 years. That means that there's like 2 years of people that have never been to Easter camp. And I'm not going to make y'all stand up or put your hands up because that's quite embarrassing. But if you've been here before, can you just give them a round of applause to welcome them?
Yo. And if you have been dragged along by a friend, maybe unaware of what this camp even was, and surprise, it's a Christian camp. Welcome. I have sat in your seat before. I know exactly how you feel. I got scammed in by the mosh pits, but I'm glad I found Jesus.
Kia ora. I mean, it's a whole experience, this Easter camp. So, you know, maybe there are some powerful moments to be had. Maybe there's some healing moments to be had. Maybe there's some revelation or more understanding moments to be had.
Yeah, but I'm an introvert, and so I see all of you, and if this is your first time, I just want to challenge you for the next 3 days. Put yourself out there, give it a go, because the only things I regretted were the things that I didn't try.
Also, this is, if you haven't already caught on to it, this is an all-in experience, an all-in camp with all the feelings and all the mean feeds. Hit up Boss Dogs G.
Kia ora. Kia ora. Yeah, we're really excited for the weekend that is about to unfold for you. It's Easter, so we're all being woven into the Easter story. And so for a lot of us, maybe we've grown up always knowing what the Easter story is. We hear it every year. We've heard it a million times. But actually for some of us, it might really be the first time that you're hearing about the Easter story. And so our hope is that this weekend, as we're being woven into the story, you would be able to experience it. Every single person, whether you've heard it a million times, whether you've heard it, we're hearing it for the first time, that you would be able to hear it with new and fresh eyes, that your hearts and your ears would be open this weekend.
Yeah, so for some of you, it's going to be a little bit weird. There'll be moments that you won't understand or won't make sense. And so my challenge to you is to lean in. Just give it a go, even if it's a bit cringy or it's a new thing, give it a go, invest, and see what happens. See who shows up.
If you do know the Friday part of the Easter story, then you know that it's messy, it's a bit heavy, it's intense, it is real.
So what we're going to do, this is your first chance to lean in. So I need you to get your feet flat on the floor. Oh, kia ora. I want you to feel your spine holding your body. And all we're going to do is breathe. And we breathe all the time, so you should be good at it. So what we're going to do, plant your feet flat, feel your spine. And when we breathe, I want you to breathe and feel your whole body. And then when you release, I want you to release any tension that you're holding, any stress, any pain from sleeping in a tent for the first night, or for the fourth if you're one of the leaders that came and set up. So we're going to breathe together. Here we go, ready? Breathe in, ha ki roto, hold, 2, 3, and release, ha ki waho. We're going to do it one more time. Breathe in, ha ki roto, hold, 2, 3, ha ki waho. Release.
My God, my
my
God,
God,
why?
you have forsaken me. These hands, these lungs, these doubts. Why is everything lost when my voice gives out? Why is my tongue trapped behind lips that cannot speak? Why does the ground beneath my feet turn to sand, swallowing me as I try to stand? Why does the air become so violent? Lord, your words are drowned out by the silence. Why? Why is my heart racing? Playing yesterday's trauma on repeat. Would I sleep if you asked me to pray? Or would I dwell in this grief as I see you walk away? Would I choose to pray? Jesus led his disciples to the olive grove garden. And he said to them, "Sit here while I go and pray nearby." He took Peter, Jacob, and John with him. However, an intense feeling of deep sorrow plunged his soul into agony. And he told them, "My heart is overwhelmed and crushed by grief. It feels as though I am dying. Please stay. Pray. Keep watch with me." Then he walked only a short distance away. And overwhelmed by grief, he threw himself face down on the ground and prayed, "My Father, if there is any other way that you can take this suffering from me, then please take it. Yet what I want is not important, for I only desire to fulfill your plan for me." He went back to his disciples, and he found them all sound asleep. He woke Peter up, asking, "Could you not stay awake with me for even 1 hour? Keep alert, pray that you will be spared from this time of testing. Your spirit is willing, but your humanity, it is weak." So he left them for a second time to pray in solitude. And he said to God, "My Father, if there is no other way, then your will must be done." He returned to his disciples, and he found them again, all sound asleep, for they could not keep their eyes open. They could not keep their eyes open. So he left them to pray the same prayer for the third time. He returned to his disciples again, and he had to wake them up, asking, "Are you still sleeping? Do you not know that the hour has come for the Son of Man to die? Get up. It is time, for my betrayer has arrived." as I see you walk away. Would I choose to pray?
If you were to look into the eyes of this man, if you were to watch as her desperation was met by his outstretched hand,
Can you hear me?
he's the innocent, arrested.
We know how that ends.
Watching helplessly as his death is not enough to satisfy their rage and their fire, and so they torture him first. Waymaker, miracle worker, where is your way? Why is this happening? His accusers are lying. Can you hear me? One whom he calls Father.
Do you see your faithful son?
Not one step out of place. Have you ever had a moment that froze time? That everything moves too quickly and stops all at once? Because your solid place of standing is impossibly shaken. As he sat in that garden, desperately searching for anything other than his current truth, he grasped for your sovereignty in the belly of his darkness. Will you hold this space with me? If you cannot take this cup from my lips, will you drink it with me? Are you here? Because I'm stuck here. I don't even know which way to turn to face you. He followed your call. He's innocent, and yet the people push a crown of guilt into his forehead, blood unjustly falling. He's on a cross. Is this your good plan? He's going to die. For what? A good God? My God. My God. Why? You have forsaken him.
So the woman watched. The story unfolds. The ground falls from underneath your feet. Power escapes your grasp. Words escape your reach. Senses escape yourself. When total shock engulfs your space, your presence, your place, your essence,
It fills you to capacity.
from the tip of your toes to the hair follicles of your head, the vinegar sting on your tongue, there is nothing else. God himself, the hope of all the shaking earth, releases his last cry from his beaten body. Beyond recognizable, this is how the story goes. His head hangs, Son of God, the most powerful, suspended in death. A veil torn in two, its potential still unrealized. There is no mistaking, we are in utter darkness. This is your great plan? My God, my God, why? You have forsaken me. The sun doesn't shine upon us here, not in the shock, not in the suspense, not in this minute, not in this part of the story. And we are in the story. And we know what it is to have your stomach turn and look to God and ask, God, supreme God, sovereign God, all-powerful God. Is there any other? Is there any other way? See, two things were true that day. There was darkness, and there was hope. We didn't want to skip past the suffering part of the Easter story. We wanted to be able to sit in it together for a moment. Because I think in general, I can speak for myself, we're pretty good at suppressing trauma, suppressing suffering, suppressing darkness, trying to skip ahead to the positive notes. Don't worry, there's hope. The morning will come. The story has a good ending. And those things are true. But when we look at this part of the story, we can find Jesus, who was all in the suffering, all in that dark moment, all in the dread. And at the same time, totally all in the hope for resurrection, the hope for light and life to emerge out of this very real darkness, hope for a reality that was totally, completely opposite from his current lived circumstance and experience. So, one truth doesn't take away from the other. There was no shortcut through the suffering, no praise song or worship song or prayer that could take away from the pain of that darkness. And at the same time, there was no doubt, no question, nothing that could separate Jesus from his life source. You can ask God, why? I think one thing that every single human being has in common in the entire history of humanity, whether you're old or young, wherever you find yourself in life, we all began in the dark. It's inherent in us to know what it is to be completely reliant and connected to a life source, not really knowing where or when or what is happening. But we all began there, in the dark, in the womb space, that realm of potential. So it's inherent to us. We know that life and light emerges from darkness, that there is forming that happens in those dark spaces. We are in the gross part of the Easter story. But it's important that we know how we can be all in it, how to be in it well, how to be real about your anxieties and your frustrations, your suffering, your questions to God, for God, about God. It's exactly what Jesus examples in this story. That there is a very real and tangible, questioning, wrestling relationship with God, the life source. And the story isn't wasted. The suffering isn't wasted. The darkness isn't wasted. Life emerges. Beauty isn't conditioned by suffering. So yeah, we wanted to sit in this moment for a while together because we wanted to acknowledge its place and its position in what ultimately is a redemption story. Every single life in this room has the capacity to be a redemption story. We all have had or are having or will have our moments in pain. So God, meet us in our suffering. Meet us in our why questions. Meet us in our you have forsaken me seasons. And breathe purpose. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, author and finisher measure of our faith. He's God's only Son, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame. He did it all for us.
Fear has this pattern or habit about it that convinces you you're alone. It convinces you that you're isolated, and it tells you you're not enough to be in the presence of God until you heal, until you step out of that situation, until you see yourself the way God sees you. But when we hold this story of Jesus in the garden going, please God, if there's any other way, then please. And if not, then I'm willing. When you hold that story with your own story, and there's 4,500 of you in this room. That's 4,500 individual stories and traumas and weight that you're carrying. And last night there was a challenge for you to step into that and own that story. And I don't know about you, but that was vulnerable as heck. That was terrifying to own that brokenness. But when you're able to sit in it and recognize that your source of life is not gone. In my story, when things were scary and hard and painful, the thing I was told was when there's breath, there's hope. While there's breath, there's hope. And if nothing else, if you don't remember anything else from the things we've told you, I want you to remember, while there's breath, there's hope. So in those moments that you don't have words, when you don't even know how to speak out the question or the yearning sitting in your heart, you can connect to the source of life through your breath. That can be your prayer. So we breathed at the beginning of this, and we're going to breathe again, but this time I want you to own the space that you're standing in, own the story that you're carrying, and connect your story to the source of our life. Like when we were first created. So once again, I'm going to ask you to plant your feet on the ground. I want your spine to sit strong as you own your story and the hope that is in your story. And we're going to connect to the life source. Here we go. Hakiroto. Hold. 2, 3. Hakiwaho. One more time. Hakiroto. Hold. 2, 3. Hakiwaho. Mauri ora.
As we all just breathe together, that can be a simple reminder that we are not alone. That can be a simple reminder that even the air breathes with us. When we go through something, as we've all said before, remember that even through the pain, your heart continues to beat. So not only plant your feet on firm ground, not only breathe with the air, but hold your heart. Hold it and feel it and know that it is stronger than we know it. Hold it and feel it and try to focus on the rhythm as it slows down. I am doing it right now. In those anxious, lonely moments, the ground is firm. The air is with you. and your heart is still beating with purpose. And through all of that, whether you know it or not, God is breathing His Spirit into you. Do not mistake the silence for His absence. Sit in it as long as you need to, but hold that space.
Thank you for sharing this space with us. And we hope that this weekend you can lean all the way into the story. God bless you.